Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to another Lost in the Pond reaction. It's actually been quite a long time for my channel. I mean, I think it's been like a week or two now, maybe like 2 weeks, which is actually, yeah, like I said, quite a long time. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy his videos. We're starting with a very, I'm sorry, Lawrence. I can't help it. This is literally how the video starts. I'm sorry for the mugshot, but yeah, I mean, 5 ways British and American bathrooms are very different. I've done a lot of these reactions before. For how like sort of living rooms and bedrooms and houses, just all these sort of comparisons. 5 ways they're different. I guess it's kind of the series name. And I mean, yeah, I find it quite interesting to see the differences of what we have and what we don't have. But when it comes to bathroom, what's that going to be? I mean, you have a toilet, you have a sink, you have either a shower or a bath, or you have a bath and a shower together, which is what I have. Maybe you have a little toilet washer, like the squirter things that cleans your ass. Maybe, I don't know. That's more of like more of an Asian thing, I think. Like Asian countries have it. I don't know, maybe not. But I don't know, we're gonna see, right? But I don't really know how toilets or bathrooms can be that different, but we're gonna see. But yeah, saying that, hopefully you're going to enjoy. Quick shout out to my Instagram, my Twitter, links in the description for those interested. Same for my Patreon, links will there for those interested. But jump into it, man. Let's see what Lawrence has to say about some bathrooms. Yeah, man, let's just jump into it. If he wants to work,
And I've also aged 10 years in that time, and it shows. My joints aren't what they were, so getting in and out of the bath was a bloody nightmare.
I'm so confused.
Hello, I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain...
Did he sound different when he said it?
Hello, I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond. And one of those memos pertains to cleanliness. And one place that is absolutely synonymous with cleanliness, try saying that after 4 whiskies. I mean, I just did, but... is the bathroom. And believe it or not, I've not yet, in my 4.5 years of doing a YouTube channel on the differences between Britain and America, talked about the differences between British and American bathrooms. So that is what I'm going to do
I'm really
today.
wondering what
So
differences
as
there
my
will even
bathwater
be.
gets deeper than the Marianas Trench, here are 5 ways in which British and American bathrooms are so very, very different.
Oh, the taps. How... Wait, which... See, I think... typically British homes and British taps, there's usually 2 different ones, but now where I live there's just one conjoined one, how it is in the US, I think.
Yes. Any Americans that have spent any time in Britain and vice versa will know that the way in which taps are presented is somewhat different, or at least can be. So having grown up in Britain, I was so very used to the taps being divided, not politically, that would be madness, but in terms of hot and cold. So washing your hands in a British sink goes one of 2 ways. Either you could just fill up the entire sink with both hot and cold water until it is warm, and wash it that way with soap. Extra work, granted, but it does save on water usage. There is that. Or you could be really lazy, switch on the hot tap, do this, realise that it burns you, switch on the cold tap to cool it down, realises that stings in a different way, and give up halfway through and suffer the consequences of poor hygiene. Now, I should mention that that is not entirely nationwide. There will be some bathrooms that unite.
I think it's an old school thing, and maybe it's like a thing that at a lot of homes you see it, but then when you go like out for restaurants or like just going out, the taps will typically, as long as the sinks are new, they're not old sinks, the taps will be like sort of conjoined, or whatever the term is.
The taps. And I was very happy to find, after moving to the United States, that it's not just commonplace in the US for that unification to happen. This is all sounding very political, needlessly so. But it's universal in the United States to have one central tap, or, as it's often known in the United States, a faucet. And this alleviated so many problems with washing hands. Now, I will find that I use far more water in doing so now. So again, there is that kind of give and take, but pound for pound, I'd prefer not to burn my hand off. Now, the separate taps in Britain go back to the fact that the taps and the plumbing is just really old, and you couldn't sort of mix the hot and the cold water back in the day, and it sort of stayed that way because of a lot of our buildings don't get demolished like they do in the United States, so they just keep that same old plumbing system. I mean, that's the watered down version.
That's kind of sus, you know, kind of, I mean, when you think about it, you want your sort of systems to be changed. Maybe they can't be changed a lot, but like being the same systems for years and years, it kind of doesn't seem very hygienic, but maybe there's more to it than I actually
explanation. Do you see what I did there? Yeah. Anyway, speaking of water, that brings us on to our next entry. Whether you
toilet.
call it the toilet, the commode, the John, the loo, or the porcelain god, we can all agree that the toilet is one of the greatest inventions of all time, behind toilet paper, which I've just realised came after, as it always does. But when we are talking about Britain and America, there is one chief difference between how toilets are in those two countries, and it all comes down to one thing: the water level. So in Britain, you practically need binoculars just to make out the water level down below. Although if you do that, you run the risk of enhancing the size of other things. And the chief problem with it being so low, of course, is splashback. You know, and you don't want that on a cold Monday morning, which again is why I was relieved to move to the United States, where the water level is really high. So when
I thought the higher... Actually, it makes sense, but the higher... The water, when it's high, it's still going to splash back, because it's so much closer. Right? I mean, maybe I'm absolutely waffling here, but I always thought the splashback on the higher ones would be a lot worse, but...
when you come to
not.
do one, it gets lost in the pond. I'm so sorry. Just flush all of that out of your memory as we pull the switch on entry number 3. That's right, both countries use bathroom lights differently, but before you get the idea that Britain is still somehow using, I don't know, the candle, it's not the light source itself, but the mechanism by which we light it. In the United States...
That looks weird. You got like that. You got the bit of string coming down, right? Or sometimes you got switches, but the switches are always out of the bathroom because obviously you don't want to get wet.
Of course, this is almost always done using the light switch, and while that is also the case in a lot of UK homes and hotels and the like, you will find the odd, usually distinctly odd, bathroom in Britain where that very mode is essentially just a piece of string.
I had that at my old house.
Until it clicks. This can be very confusing for a lot of people walking in.
And my grandparents' house. Yeah, actually, when I think about it, all my childhood homes had it. And then the string always broke, so you could either not reach it as a kid, or you just had to get another
and not
one.
having a clue what
Obviously, I wouldn't get it. My parents would
that does. And to this day, I'm not entirely sure why it exists, but, you know, in addition to a dripping tap and a comfortable bathtub, I'm tempted to believe that it was designed by a cat. And speaking of bathtubs, that brings us on to our final 2 entries. I think it was the actor Burt Reynolds who said the most underrated thing in life is a nice hot bath. And I agree with Sir Burt. Was he a Sir? He wasn't even British. He was American. He was correct. Baths are amazing. And one thing I noticed after moving to the United States is that the surface of the bathtub is actually at the same level as the ground outside of it. That's quite novel to a British person because where I'm from, the bathtub is raised. So when I was in England visiting this past May, I'd forgotten this fact after 10 years of being away. And I've also aged 10 years in that time, and it shows. My joints aren't what they were, so getting in and out of the bath was a bloody nightmare, and I'm not afraid to admit it on live YouTube. So anybody from the United States who's visiting Britain that likes to have baths, keep that in mind. You may need to take a stepladder with you. Slight exaggeration.
Wait, what? US baths are built into the floor? Wait, what? US baths built in the floor. Well, maybe not in the floor, on like next to the floor. Wait, I'm so confused. Like, I thought he meant like... Wait, images. I thought this was how all but... I mean, I think I'm just getting the wrong... I'm getting like the wrong information from this or something. Wait.
Past May, I'd forgotten this fact after 10 years of being away. And I've also aged 10 years in that time, and it shows. My joints aren't what they were, so getting in and out of the bath was a bloody nightmare, and I'm not afraid to admit it.
I guess it's just lower, but it's still up. It's just lower, and again, it's level with the floor, which would make more sense because obviously, I say obviously, in the UK it's literally built above, kind of thing. I don't really know though. Maybe I'm just having a mare here.
Live YouTube. So anybody from the United States who's visiting Britain that likes to have baths, keep that in mind. You may need to take a stepladder with you. Slight exaggeration. And speaking of baths and Americans that like to have them, that brings us on to our final entry. So it turns out that Burt Reynolds may well have been an anomaly when it comes to Americans that like to take baths. The truth is, it's not as big a pastime in America as it is in Britain. In Britain, we absolutely love to take hot baths.
I used to, but it now makes me feel, like it's so hot and you just feel like lightheaded. I hate the feeling after. Sometimes I will just chill and have a bath, but I can't sit there for long. But for me, nothing beats a cold, not too cold, but not hot, like a lukewarm, but on the colder side shower in the morning, man. Nothing beats it. I love me a lukewarm, slightly on the cold side shower, mate. You cannot beat it. You cannot beat a lukewarm shower, mate.
And this is evidenced by the fact that there is one.
But I do like baths as well. I used to love them all the time. I used to have them all the time, but yeah, especially when you've got asthma as well. Like I used to react quite badly to it, so that was also
one thing alone that America doesn't do bigger, and that is the bathtub. British baths just give you so much more room. You don't have to crunch your knees up, which is in fact how I ruined my joints. Because American baths are smaller. Not only are they smaller, but they don't recline as much, usually. I mean, you can buy specialist baths that do that, but for the most part, the standard bathtub in America has that back that's straight up, so you just have to sit there. And if you're a tall man like me, 6'1", then there aren't many easy options for that. You just have to suck it up and take it. One of the reasons is that, firstly, Americans just don't value bath taking as much as they do over showers, which is, I was about to say fair enough, but I don't think it is. You don't know what you're missing out on.
Of course. American baths. Because there are definitely these places in the UK, places, baths that I've seen before that are quite small. But on average, you do just see regular sized baths. But, I mean, it does actually look small. Like, I'm 5... I switch between... I feel like I'm like 5'10". I've been speaking to my friends, and they say they're like a lot taller than I thought they were, so I'm going to say I'm 5'10". I'll give it to myself, alright? So I'm like 5'10", and I can just about fit in my bath. Like, head to toe. But I can't be completely underwater. Like, a knee will be poking out or something. But I mean, this does look quite small actually. This looks tiny. But again, if you don't have baths, then there's no real need for it. So
listen to Bert. He knows what he's talking about. I mean, he's dead, so he's not here to speak for himself. But I'm speaking on his behalf. Bathtubs are amazing, and hot baths in them are even better. But the other thing that it comes down to, I'm assured, is in the sort of real estate market. You know, real estate agents, or whatever you call them here, realtors, want to ensure that there's more floor space in the property that is being sold. So as standard, baths don't come bigger. And if you want them bigger, that's going to be a very big, hefty expense on your budget. Anybody who's been to restoration hardware will know that. So those were 5 ways that British and American bathrooms are so very different. The time has come to pull the plug on this episode. I'll stop now. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that my video...
Again, if you haven't already subscribed to Lawrence, man, his channel is just fun to see, and people always seem to enjoy my reactions to him. So again, show him some love if you haven't already. But time to read the comments. For the record, Americans that like to take baths hate our average shallow bathtubs. Here in the colonies, we find the hot shower to be faster and more efficient in getting clean. Many, including me, find a nice hot shower gets the day started nicely. See, man, I honestly don't like hot showers, like hot showers. Sometimes when it's winter and it's been cold, you can't beat it just getting home and just putting the boiling water on your body and just burning yourself. But that's on the very rare occasion. In the general in general, it's just, I don't know, I just like, especially in summer, it's nice to just have a cold shower. But again, my opinion probably changes a lot when it comes to winter. We do occasionally encounter separate taps in the US too, but they're fairly rare and typically in older buildings. Usually in the USA, we have strings to turn lights on in the basement and closets. Oh, so Justin knows. That's kind of strange. I recently discovered baths, but only for soaking in hot water to soothe my aches and pains. I then drain the tub and shower to clean myself. That's what I always do after baths as well, man. If I do rarely have one, I'll then have a shower after, a cool shower, because I find myself sweating quite a bit, and it's just, I don't actually feel that clean. I don't know. American, sometimes I take a bath, I quickly get bored, the water cools off, and I let and I'm left sitting there wondering why I'm taking a bath. I used to feel like that as well. As an American, I guess we want the relaxing bath, so we tend to just jump in the jacuzzi to unwind. Well, there we go. There's a flex. But I mean, I'm not sure the typical American will have a jacuzzi. I don't know anybody who has a jacuzzi. Yeah, man, that'd be the dream. But who knows what the future holds, right? But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this one. Again, another Lost in the Pond reaction. Hopefully you enjoyed. Suggest some more videos you want to see in future. And I mean, yeah, until next time, like, subscribe. Peace.